My name is Ethan Caldwell, and I'm 30 years old. 5 years ago, I graduated from law school and married the woman I thought was my soulmate. Lara Vance was everything I believed I wanted in a partner. Beautiful, intelligent, and seemingly supportive of my dreams. We had a small wedding in Denver, Colorado, nothing fancy, but it felt perfect at the time. The legal market in 2020 was brutal. Fresh graduates like me were competing for entry-level positions that paid barely $45,000 a year. I took a job at a small firm downtown, handling mostly traffic violations and minor civil disputes. The pay was $32,000 annually. Not exactly the lawyer lifestyle people imagine from TV shows. Lara worked as a marketing coordinator at a local tech startup, making about $38,000 herself. Together, we were scraping by in a one-bedroom apartment that cost us $1,600 a month. We drove a used Honda Civic that I'd bought for $9,000 during my final year of law school. For the first 3 years, she seemed understanding. "We're building something together," she'd say when I worked late nights studying for the bar exam or preparing cases. "This is temporary, Ethan. You're going to be successful." But somewhere around year 4, the comments started. "Why can't you find a better paying job?" she'd ask over dinner. Usually mac and cheese or ramen noodles because that's what we could afford. "The Hendersons just bought a new Toyota Camry," she mentioned one evening, scrolling through Facebook. "Sarah's husband works in sales. No college degree, but he's making $65,000. I tried explaining how building a legal career works. You start small, gain experience, build relationships. Eventually, you either make partner at a firm or open your own practice. It takes time, patience, and dedication." "Time," she repeated, her voice getting colder each month. "How much time, Ethan?" By our 5th anniversary in June 2025, the criticism had become relentless. Every bill, every declined credit card, every can of generic soup became ammunition for her growing resentment. "I'm tired of living like college students," she said one Tuesday evening in July. No argument had preceded this statement. We were just sitting on our second-hand couch, watching Netflix on my laptop because we couldn't afford cable. "I'm doing my best, Lara," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "The Henderson case might bring in a decent settlement. That could help us." "Help us what? Buy name-brand cereal?" She laughed bitterly. "Ethan, I'm 28 years old. I don't want to be poor anymore." The word poor hung in the air like poison. 3 weeks later, on a quiet Thursday morning in early August, she handed me a manila envelope while I was drinking coffee from a chipped mug. "What's this?" I asked, though something in my gut already knew. "Divorce papers," she said matter-of-factly. "I've already signed them. If you enjoy stories of cold-blooded revenge and gripping plot twists, like this video and subscribe to the channel now. There are brand new, unreleased stories here every day, each one more intense than the last." I stared at the legal documents, ironically something I could read and understand perfectly. Irreconcilable differences, division of minimal assets, no alimony requested, thankfully, since we both made similar wages. "I want a better life," she continued, not meeting my eyes. "And you're a dead weight, Ethan. I can't keep waiting for you to become successful." I set down my coffee. My hands weren't shaking, which surprised me. "Is there someone else?" She didn't answer immediately, which was answer enough. "That's not what this is about," she finally said. But of course it was. I spent the next 2 hours reading through every page of those divorce papers. As a lawyer, I understood exactly what I was looking at. As a husband, I felt like I was drowning. The documents had been prepared by Morrison and Associates, a mid-tier family law firm in downtown Denver. Someone had paid their $2,000 retainer fee. It wasn't Lara. She didn't have that kind of money lying around any more than I did. "Who's paying for this?" I asked when she came back from her morning run. "Does it matter?" she replied, toweling sweat from her face. "It matters to me." She sighed. "A friend is helping me out." A friend, right. That evening, while Lara was supposedly at her book club, something she'd started attending 3 months ago, I did what any suspicious spouse would do. I checked our phone records online. Our shared Verizon account showed her call history, and one number appeared frequently, especially in the past 2 months. I ran the number through a reverse lookup. Bradley Morrison, age 34. A quick LinkedIn search revealed he was a senior financial advisor at Merrill Lynch downtown. His profile photo showed a man in an expensive suit standing next to a silver BMW 5 Series. I sat there staring at my laptop screen, pieces falling into place, the sudden interest in book club, the new clothes she'd been buying despite our tight budget, the way she'd started doing her hair differently. When she came home that night, I was still at our small kitchen table with the divorce papers spread out in front of me. "Have you decided?" she asked, setting her purse down. "I have some questions first," I said calmly. "About Bradley Morrison." Her face went pale. For the first time in months, she looked genuinely surprised. "How do you—" she started, then stopped herself. "Phone records, Lara. You've been calling him 60 times in the past month. His firm is less than 10 blocks from your office." She crossed her arms defensively. "We're friends. Friends don't pay for each other's divorce attorneys." "Bradley understands what I'm going through," she said, her voice gaining strength as she found her footing in the lie. "He went through a difficult divorce himself 2 years ago. He's just being supportive." Supportive. I repeated the word slowly. "Is that what we're calling it?" "Nothing physical has happened," she said quickly. Another lie. I could see it in her eyes, hear it in the way her voice pitched slightly higher. "But you want it to," I said. It wasn't a question. She didn't deny it. I stood up from the table and walked to our bedroom. From my dresser drawer, I pulled out a small piece of paper, a lottery ticket, the same numbers I'd played every week for the past 3 years. 07, 14, 21, 03, 42. Powerball 18. Lara's birthday in July. My birthday in February. The day we got married on June 21st. The day I graduated law school on May 3rd. The day I passed the bar exam on the 42nd day after taking it. And the number of our first apartment. "You know what's funny?" I called out to her from the bedroom. "What?" she replied, still standing in the kitchen. "I've been playing these numbers since we got married, every single week. $52 a year, money you always said we couldn't afford to waste." I walked back to the kitchen holding the ticket. I told myself it was an investment in our future. Our future, Lara. That someday maybe we'd get lucky and could finally afford the life you wanted. She looked at the ticket, then back at my face. "Ethan, But you don't want to wait for someday, do you? You want that life right now with someone who already has it." I picked up a pen from the table, one of those cheap Bic ballpoints we bought in bulk from Walmart. "You're right about one thing," I said, clicking the pen. "I am a dead weight. At least I am to you." I signed my name on the divorce papers. Each signature felt like closing a door I'd never be able to open again. The kitchen was completely silent except for the scratching of ink on paper and the hum of our ancient refrigerator. When I finished, I set the pen down and looked at her. "There. You're free to pursue your better life." Tears were running down her cheeks now, but I couldn't tell if they were genuine or just part of the performance. "Ethan, please." "Please what? Please fight for a marriage you've already abandoned? Please compete with a man who makes more in a month than I make in 6? I folded the signed papers and handed them to her. "Take these to your friend Bradley. I'm sure he'll know what to do with them." That night, she packed 2 suitcases and left for her sister's apartment in Aurora. The Honda Civic stayed in our parking space. Technically, it was in my name since I'd bought it before we married. I sat alone in our suddenly too quiet apartment, holding that lottery ticket and thinking about the future I'd planned that would never exist. The next morning was Friday, August 12th, 2025. I remember the date exactly because it changed everything. I woke up in an empty apartment that suddenly felt enormous. The silence was deafening. No morning routine chatter, no competing for the bathroom mirror, no arguing about who forgot to buy coffee filters. I made instant coffee. We were out of the good stuff. And sat at the kitchen table where divorce papers had been spread just 12 hours earlier. The lottery ticket was still there, crumpled slightly from where I'd gripped it too tightly. My phone buzzed. A text from my boss at the firm. Henderson's settlement fell through. Plaintiff changed their mind. See you Monday. Perfect. Even my biggest case of the year was abandoning me. I picked up the lottery ticket and smoothed out the wrinkles. 07, 14, 21, 03, 42. Powerball 18. The numbers that represented everything Lara and I had built together. Numbers that now meant nothing to her but still somehow meant everything to me. On impulse, and I mean pure, unexplainable impulse, I grabbed my keys and drove to the 7-Eleven on Colfax Avenue. The same store where I'd bought a ticket every Friday for 3 years. The usual, asked Miguel, the clerk who knew me by now. Yeah, I said, sliding $5 across the counter. Quick pick for tomorrow's drawing. But then I stopped. Actually, no. Manual entry. I filled out the slip carefully. 07, 14, 21, 03, 42. Powerball 18. The cashier handed me the fresh ticket, and I folded it into my wallet next to my empty credit cards and $23 in cash. Saturday evening came faster than I expected. I spent the day cleaning the apartment, boxing up Lara's remaining belongings, things she'd left behind in her hurry to start her new life. Jewelry from her grandmother, books she'd collected since college, a ceramic mug I'd bought her for our 2nd anniversary that said "World's Best Wife." The irony wasn't lost on me. At 10:59 p.m., I turned on Channel 9 News for the Powerball drawing. I sat on our couch, my couch now, with the ticket in my hand and a beer I'd found in the back of the refrigerator. "Good evening, Colorado," said the announcer. "Tonight's jackpot is $87 million. The lottery machine started spinning those familiar white balls. I watched each number bounce around, waiting to see which ones would drop. First number, 7. My heart skipped. That was Lara's birthday, July 7th. Second number, 14. My birthday, February 14th. Valentine's Day, which she always said was cheesy but secretly loved. Third number, 21. Our wedding day, June 21st, 2020. A small ceremony in Washington Park with 35 guests and a reception at my parents' house. Fourth number, 3. My law school graduation, May 3rd, 2020. Fifth number, 42. The day I passed the Colorado bar exam, which was 42 days after I took it. My hand started shaking. The beer slipped from my fingers and hit the carpet, but I didn't care about the spill. And your Powerball number, 18. Our apartment number, 18C at Riverside Commons. I stared at the television screen, then at my ticket, then back at the screen. The numbers matched perfectly, every single one. I had just won $87 million. I sat there in complete silence for what felt like hours but was probably only minutes. The news had moved on to weather reports and traffic updates while I held a piece of paper worth more money than I could properly comprehend. $87 million. Before taxes, that was enough to buy Bradley Morrison's BMW every month for the next 100 years. It was enough to pay off my law school loans, buy a house, start my own firm, and still have enough left over to live comfortably for the rest of my life. One day. I had won this money one day after Lara left me for being too poor. I started laughing. Not happy laughter. The kind of laughter that happens when the universe plays such a perfectly cruel joke that you can't process it any other way. My phone was buzzing on the kitchen counter. A text message. It was from Lara. I left my grandmother's ring in the jewelry box on the dresser. Can I come get it tomorrow? I looked at the lottery ticket again, then at her text message. She wanted her grandmother's ring, the one worth maybe $200 at a pawn shop. I typed back, "Sure, I'll be here all day." What I didn't tell her was that by tomorrow I'd be worth $87 million, and she'd given up any legal claim to a single penny of it exactly 24 hours too early. Sunday morning, I woke up and immediately checked my wallet to make sure the ticket was still there. It was real. The numbers were real. The $87 million was real. My first call was to the Colorado Lottery office. They were closed until Monday, but their automated message confirmed Saturday's winning numbers. I was officially the sole winner of the largest jackpot in Colorado history that year. I spent the morning researching what comes next, Tax implications, legal requirements, media attention. As a lawyer, I understood the importance of handling this correctly. The lump sum payout would be about $52 million after federal and state taxes. Still more money than I'd ever dreamed of having. At 2 p.m., Laura knocked on the door. "Hi," she said awkwardly when I opened it. She looked different. Her hair was styled professionally, and she was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Expensive, probably a gift from Bradley. "The ring's on the kitchen counter," I said, stepping aside to let her in. She walked past me, and I caught a whiff of new perfume. Something that cost more than our monthly grocery budget used to be. "How are you doing?" she asked, picking up the small velvet box containing her grandmother's ring. "I'm good," I replied honestly. "Really good, actually." She looked around the apartment. I'd cleaned everything, put her remaining belongings in neat boxes by the door. "I packed up the rest of your things," I said. "Books, photo albums, that coffee mug collection you started in college." "Thank you," she said softly. "That was considerate." We stood there in uncomfortable silence for a moment. She seemed to be working up the courage to say something. "Ethan, I want you to know that this isn't easy for me either," she finally said. "Leaving wasn't something I wanted to do. It was something I felt I had to do." "I understand," I said calmly. "Do you? Because I worry that you think I'm just some gold digger who—" "Lara," I interrupted gently. "You don't owe me any explanations. We want different things. It's better this way." She looked surprised by my composure. I think she'd expected anger, begging, maybe some dramatic confrontation. "Are you going to be okay?" she asked. "Financially, I mean." The irony was so perfect I almost started laughing again. "I'll be fine," I said. "Actually, I'll be better than fine." "Good," she said, though she looked puzzled by my confidence. "I worry about you being able to afford this place on your own." "The lease is up in 2 months anyway," I told her. "I'm thinking of moving somewhere bigger." This was true. I was already mentally shopping for houses in Cherry Hills Village, the kind of neighborhood where Bradley Morrison probably lived. My phone buzzed. A text from my law school buddy Jake. "Dude, did you see the news? Someone in Denver won the Powerball jackpot last night. 87 million. Can you imagine?" I glanced at the message, then at Lara, who was still standing in my kitchen holding her grandmother's ring. "I should go," she said. "Bradley is taking me to lunch at the Brown Palace." The Brown Palace Hotel. Sunday brunch there cost about what we used to spend on groceries for a week. "That sounds nice," I said. "Tell him I said congratulations on his new relationship." She looked startled. "Ethan, It's okay, Lara, really." She headed toward the door, carrying the small box and looking more confused than ever by my attitude. "Oh, one more thing," I said as she reached for the door handle. She turned back. "You might want to check the lottery numbers from last night, just out of curiosity." "Why?" she asked. "Those numbers I played every week? The ones you said were a waste of money? I played them one more time yesterday." She stared at me. I could see her mind working, trying to process what I was implying. "Ethan, you didn't—" "I did." The color drained from her face. "How much?" $87 million. The jewelry box slipped from her hands and hit the floor. The ring scattered across the hardwood, but neither of us moved to pick it up. "You're lying," she whispered. I pulled out my phone and showed her Jake's text message, then opened the Colorado Lottery website with Saturday's winning numbers displayed. She looked at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen. "When?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "Friday night. About 20 minutes after you left for your sister's place." I watched her do the math in her head. Friday night. One day after she'd walked out. One day after the divorce papers were signed. "Oh my God," she said, sinking into the nearest chair. "Oh my God, Ethan, we can fix this. The papers haven't been filed yet. We can—" "No," I said quietly but firmly. "We can't. But this changes everything." "This changes nothing, Lara. You made your choice based on who you thought I was and what you thought I could provide. The money doesn't change those things." "Please," she said, and now there were tears in her eyes. "Please, we can work this out. I made a mistake. I was scared about our future, but now Now you see a different future, I finished. One with $87 million in it. She was crying openly now. I love you, Ethan, I always have. No, I said, walking to the door and opening it. You love the idea of financial security. You always have. There's a difference. She stood up slowly, understanding that this conversation was over. I'll file the divorce papers on Monday morning, I said. By Tuesday, you'll officially be free to pursue that better life you wanted. She walked to the door, stopping next to me. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know, I replied, so am I. After she left, I picked up her grandmother's ring from where it had fallen and set it on the kitchen counter. She'd probably be back for it eventually. It's been just over a month since I won the lottery, and my life has already changed dramatically. I've started the legal process to open my own law firm in downtown Denver. The paperwork is nearly complete, and I've already secured office space on the 15th floor of a building 3 blocks from Bradley Morrison's office. Through the future windows of my firm, I'll be able to see the parking garage where he keeps his BMW. I drive a Tesla now. Not because I need to impress anyone, but because I can. Lara and Bradley are still together as far as I know, though I've heard through mutual acquaintances that things aren't going as smoothly as she'd hoped. Turns out his wealth isn't as stable as it appeared. Most of it is leveraged, and with recent market volatility, his portfolio has been taking hits. She tried reaching out to me twice in the past few weeks. I never responded. Sometimes I still think about that Friday night when I bought the lottery ticket on impulse. If I'd waited one more day, or if she'd waited one more day to leave, our lives would be completely different. But that's the thing about timing. You can't control it, and you can't change it. You can only decide how you respond to it. I responded by building the life I'd always planned to build, just with better funding than I'd originally expected. The law firm is thriving. I bought a house in Highlands Ranch, and last month I started a scholarship fund for first-generation law students at my alma mater. Lara got exactly what she asked for, freedom from a marriage she saw as financially limiting. She just didn't get the upgrade she'd planned on. As for me, I learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't something you plan or execute. Sometimes it's just living well while the people who underestimated you watch from the sidelines, realizing what they gave up. The universe has a sense of humor, and occasionally, it has a sense of justice too. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and leave a comment telling me what you thought. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get alerts for new stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.